welcome to episode 183 of
The Eldritch Podblast.
I am Margaret.
I am Jack.
And we are a Dungeons & Dragons social commentary podcast where we focus on the social aspect of D&D.
We give out advice to Dungeon Masters and players, old and new.
And most importantly, we believe in creating a safe, inclusive, and welcoming space in the TTRPG community.
So if that sounds all right to you, welcome in.
Take a seat. No,
Come on
sorry.
in.
No, you stand.
No, you sit on the floor.
Yeah, sorry. No,
There's no seats left.
Yeah, no. You stand.
You came too late.
You see those shackles there? You stand at, yeah.
Just pop yourself.
Yeah,
on both ankles, actually.
Good. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
sorry. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Now, yeah.
Now swallow the key.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, swallow it.
Okay, good.
Very good.
Great,
Okay,
great,
okay,
great.
okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for
Now
complying.
you're welcome in.
Yeah, hi. Hi, everyone. How are we doing?
How are you?
How are we doing? I hope we're doing all right. Trying to keep energy up.
Oh my god.
Up. After Monday's episode, trying to keep...
You gotta... I won't do that shit.
Trying to keep energy up. I hope we're all doing okay. I hope we're all right. It's okay if you're not. I hope that we can take your minds off of it a little bit.
With this great video.
Oh my
With this fantastic grade A video.
Oh my gosh, this award-winning video.
I mean,
no. Technically it's the stream that's award-winning.
But still,
we've
won an award.
Yeah, we won an award.
We have kind of won an award.
We kind of won an award.
Hey, I've kind of won an award.
How is everyone? How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I think I'm being haunted by an eel.
Yes. You think you're being haunted by an eel?
I think I'm being haunted by an eel.
You think you're being haunted by an eel?
Pretty sure I'm being haunted by an eel.
Pretty sure you're pretty certain.
I'm pretty certain of it.
You showed us a video
Yeah.
of a woman catching eels.
Yeah.
At D&D on Wednesday.
Hey, we've all done it, all right? We've all done it.
Yeah,
we've all fallen down a TikTok live
eel catching hole.
Void.
Yeah.
Right? And I was waiting for you to pick everyone up for D&D.
Yeah.
And
you found a video.
it was a video of a woman in a lake, and she was catching eels. She would put a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
She'd put some fish paste down.
Yeah. And
tap the ground to simulate like
water,
movement.
like fill up with water, and then she'd.
By the way,
snatch
so
them.
many eels.
Lots of eels.
Shocking.
Many eels.
I've never seen eels in their natural habitat
No.
before. So many eels. Anywho, I was obsessed with it. I showed everyone. I think about the eels regularly. Ever since that, I'm seeing references to eels everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. We were watching a video this morning, and there was eels in it. We watched Arcane, the new episodes of Arcane last night. Mentions of eel. I spent the weekend with Abby and my friend Max, and we did some spooky stuff. We did the Estes method, and there was mentions of eels in the Estes method.
Yeah.
By the entities, and
I said, it's so when things like this happen, it's like the first time this ever happened to me was I got my first ever job selling cars at Kia.
Yeah.
And then one of the guys said to me, it's like, you'll see Kias everywhere now. Now that you sell them.
And then you did.
And then I went out and it was like Kia. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And now you're so hyper aware of eels.
Eels.
Like, and then eels start coming up. It's like you wouldn't have noticed otherwise.
No.
But because eels are on the brain.
Yeah, but why so many references to eels? I feel like eels are, not niche, but,
But that's the thing. I don't know. You play a lot of fantasy stuff and,
Yeah.
Maybe they go fishing and catch eels.
Well, that's
which is what you saw this morning.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's funner to say I'm being haunted by an eel.
I mean,
though.
it's far funner.
It's far funner to say I'm being haunted by an eel.
What's fun about my explanation?
It's true. Yeah, true. Nothing.
But your explanation.
Haunted by an eel?
Very fun.
That's quite fun. That's quite fun.
Very exciting.
So, hey, yeah, if you never see me again, it was the eels. How about that? How about that?
That's the explanation.
You know what? I shan't bore you with the things I got to up at the weekend, because it's kind of spooky. Some of the things we did. I'm very scared of everything.
Yeah.
I just want to preface, I'm very scared of everything.
Which is why I'm very surprised that you tried the Estes method.
Yeah. And Abby isn't scared of anything, actually, especially paranormal. And we got together. She's on holiday at the minute. We went to like the place she was staying at. We sat in the hot tub for a long time. It was very nice. Caught up. We turned all the lights off. We put some candles on. And then if you don't know what the Estes method is.
Some spooky stuff.
It's basically, okay. I'm not going to bore you. Me, proceeds to bore you. That's my toxic trait. It's basically a spirit box. Okay,
Yes.
if you don't know what a spirit box is, it's a little radio.
That like scans all radio waves.
Yeah,
for
it
things being
cycles continuously through hundreds of radio channels,
Yeah.
right? So, a lot of the time you're listening to static, but, you'll get sounds of songs and you'll get words that presenters are saying, or words that are in songs, and that's
put
a
a
spirit
blindfold
box.
on?
So the Estes method is basically traditionally how you use a spirit box is
Yeah.
you walk around and you go, are you there?
Is anybody there?
And you play the spirit box out into the room, and then you hear and
pick
you
up,
communicate like that. And I think a newer version of it is the Estes method, where basically someone puts the spirit box into headphones, puts the headphones on, puts a blindfold
so
on.
they can't hear anything but the spirit box.
And then other people in the room ask questions. And then the person with the headset on just says the words out loud as they do it. And
Spooky.
there was some genuinely spooky stuff. There was some really fun, silly stuff that was really great fun. Overall, it was a really amazing experience. I loved it. We recorded everything. Apart from, listen, was there the sentence said, "I'm behind you"? And did me and Max scream and run like children and pounced behind Abby looking for safety? Yeah, we did.
Potentially.
Is that the only one we didn't catch on film? Yes, it is.
Devastatingly, yes.
Devastatingly, yes. But it was a fun time.
Yeah.
It was a really, really fun time. And I am of the belief that things like the paranormal is our subconscious.
Yeah.
We're tapping into our own subconscious, and we have no idea how much our subconscious extends outside of us, right?
Yeah.
And I told myself we had a scary experience, and I said I'm gonna do it, and I'm going to have a fun time. It's gonna be really silly.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna laugh. It's gonna be a great time, and that's exactly what I had.
Yeah, because that's what you manifested.
Yeah, and that's what I believe. A lot of paranormal and supernatural things are, and that brings me a lot of comfort and joy. To be honest, that I can manipulate the world around me.
Oh my God.
It
Just manipulate
to my will. How about that? Yeah. How about that?
Very good.
Hey, you bored? Hey, have I scared you?
Hey, timestamps down below if you don't care.
Have I scared you away? I'm sorry.
Come back.
Come back.
Some things that we wanted to let you know about.
Yes, we announced this on Monday.
Yeah.
But please join us on Sunday, the 24th of November on Twitch, 6 p.m. GMT.
Yep.
We are having our very first guests on. We are having Raina and Dave from CarefulCantrip on. If you don't know CarefulCantrip, they're an actual play. Raina also does her fireside chats. She does
fireside chats, which we were lucky enough to be invited on for one. Which was one of the first things that we had done outside our own stream, which was super cool.
Yeah.
Rain is amazing. Dave is amazing.
Yep.
So we're going to get them on, talk to them about TTRPGs, talk to them about just them, and just have a little gas on. And their community is great. It gives very much the same energy as our community does.
It does.
So I think it'll be a lot of fun.
It does.
So please come and join us for that stream. That'll be really, really sick.
Absolutely. And really, the only next thing. Only two more things that I would like to say before we get on to it. Our Pride collection has been launched.
Thank you so much to everyone who's ordered a Pride t-shirt.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
All like the merch that we release, you guys are always really back. You guys have really backed this one.
Yeah, you have. Thank you.
Like, you guys have really gone above and beyond. Thanks to everyone. We're going to be donating the money to the charity local to us at the end of the month, and it just feels good to be able to gift them a really great amount.
Yeah, it really does. And if you don't know, the charity's called Heart Gables.
Yeah.
They are a local LGBTQIA plus charity. They help in empowering LGBTQIA plus people in the area that we're in, and they also do a lot of training for businesses as well. And it's a really great cause. And yeah, we're really, really happy to be able to, honestly, to be able to do something. It feels great. And you know what? Someone, I can't fully remember who, I think it might have been Dave on stream, asked if there's a lot of flags that have black in them, and obviously they're printed on black t-shirts.
Yeah, like the Ace flag has black at the top of it and stuff like that.
I know quite a few people were wondering how the black was going to turn out, and thank you very much to Hoobs, who posted that she got her hoodie in, and this is what the black looks like. I will say it's not a true black because I couldn't put a true black onto a black hoodie.
That's
it's
the
like
point.
a dark grey, but you know, it's giving black.
It gives black, and that's the point. Make it not black so it stands out on the hoodie.
Exactly.
Stands out on the t-shirt. And I've had black on black designs and prints before, and I actually think they look really great.
Yeah.
So if anyone was worried about getting one of the designs that has a lot of black or just has a tinge of black, it stands out very well.
Indeed.
It looks great.
Yep.
Thanks so much, Hoobs.
Yeah, thank you, Hoobs. Thank you very much for that.
doing that for us.
Hoobs is one of our wonderful Twitch mods, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
So yes, there's 37 designs, all different pride flags. It's our logo. You'll be supporting us, and you'll be supporting a local charity to us as well. So please take a look. These are not limited edition.
Nope.
They're going to be on the website forevermore. Any t-shirt or hoodie that is purchased at any point, that 10% will always be taken and given to Heart Gables.
Exactly,
always.
yeah.
So, the last thing before we get into it is, if you watched Monday's episode, you saw that we showed you some fan art of our Dark Heart one-shot.
Dark Heart, live now on YouTube. Go watch it.
If you'd like to watch Dark Heart, you know what? We'll add it to all the links below so you can go watch it. It's the very first actual play we ever published. We're using D&D 2024 rules. It's a 2-player TTRPG, and it was a really great time.
It really shows off how good weapon masteries are.
It really
does.
It really does. And we've been getting consistent fan art, and we got, over the last week, we got 2 incredible pieces of fan art. We got once again from Arcadian Toast, who also did the Isaac and Brienne from last time, an actual like comic book panel of the one shot.
Which, like, the thing is, like, I'm not a comic book guy. Never have been. Like, it's just never something I got into.
Yeah.
But even I, as not a comic book guy, saw this and was like, is that the coolest thing on earth?
Yeah.
Is that potentially the coolest thing that has ever been drawn for us? Maybe, yes.
Yes.
It was just insane. Like, playing out a scene from Dark Heart, a very important scene.
It was a very important scene, yes.
Sort of like, maybe people watching and Margaret were a little bit confused as it was happening, but then as it was happening, later on it got a reveal, and it's just a really cool moment.
Yeah.
So, like, thank you so much
really cool moment.
For drawing that out. Oh, unbelievable.
Absolutely unbelievable. I've never...
do you know what I love? The way that Isaac, his hands are like
yeah, I know.
Like, he's on the bridge at that point, looking over, but his hands are on the border. That's just
I know.
so
incredible.
Cool.
Absolutely incredible. Toasty said as well on stream, they were like, I want to do this. And I was like, if you do this, hey, I'm going to shit myself. And here we are. Did I
poop myself?
Yeah, I did.
Maybe.
Yeah. It's amazing. Thank you. This is such a huge pivotal moment, and you've done, to see it.
Yeah.
Like this is so exciting and wild.
I know.
Honestly.
Wild, crazy, insane.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Arcadian Toast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And then the next one, once again, done by Farewell Fox. If you didn't know, Farewell Fox did the original art of Brienne.
Yeah.
This is what we used in the one shot. I, again, mentioned it before. I didn't want to ask an artist to do something so last minute.
Yeah.
So the fact that Farewell Fox did it, unbelievable. And then Farewell Fox hits us with this.
So this is a little bit after the comic strip, if you haven't seen it. This is like almost the pinnacle of the one shot, this moment where the true BBEG is introduced.
Mm-hmm.
And you are held personed at the door.
Yep.
And he steps past you and goes for Isaac.
Yep.
And
Yep.
Isaac begins to do something.
Yeah. And you know what? I promise this isn't spoilers. It's what's going on. You have no idea. It honestly, it's
so good.
Gosh.
Good.
Like the emotion in Brienne's eyes and the tears and all the blood.
Like creepy green,
yeah.
sickly lighting.
Yeah,
oh my god.
The way that Isaac's being held.
The use of like black as a main color.
I agree.
Is just so
like
impressive.
The silhouettes, the lighting, absolutely unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable. It's really wild seeing your characters and like a moment brought to life like that. It's insane. So Farewell Fox, wow. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Farewell Fox, Arcadian Toast, thank you. Thank you very, very, very much.
So much.
And everyone who has ever done fan art for the Podblast,
we love you.
we love you. Thank you so much.
We
And everyone
appreciate it.
who's done art for Dark Art specifically, it's really special. It really means a lot. So thank you.
It does.
Thank you. Yeah.
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 It does. Yeah.
It does. Hey, yeah, it does.
Hey, yeah, it does.
Yeah,
How about
actually, hey, how about that? It
that? How
means
about
a
that?
lot.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. How about that?
Anything else from you?
Not really.
No, I don't have any updates, to be honest, outside of
It's only
that.
been a day on it since
True.
since we filmed.
True. Yeah, I don't have anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
But I'm excited to get on topic.
Me too.
I'm excited to get on to topic today.
Me too. Well, shall we?
Thank you so much to all our patrons over at Patreon.
You have no idea how much we appreciate your support.
If you want to support us over at Patreon and gain access to our exclusive content,
Like our D&D campaign updates and our extra monthly live streams.
click the link in the description. More about Patreon at the end of this video. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, today, I've mentioned a few times, we're going to be doing some slightly different content. It might not seem that different to you guys, but it feels quite different to us.
Yeah.
As you know, we're quite a reactionary-based channel.
Yeah.
We take your submissions, we read them, we go on
Take
Reddit,
things
look
off
at
Reddit,
posts,
yeah.
and we react to things. We want to start doing some videos that are more talking points,
Yeah.
right? I use the term video essay. Video essay is not the right term for it.
No, probably not.
But more commentary as opposed to reactionary.
Yeah,
right?
commentary, yeah.
And I have a whole document full of all the ideas. So if you like this, we're going to do them anyway. For this video, specifically what we wanted to focus on is something that I think is very relevant right now.
Yeah,
And-
super relevant.
And it's the topic of, is D&D 2024 moving in the right direction?
Yeah.
Right? Now that we have the player's handbook, now that we have the DMG, we're going to have the monster manual in February. I said that weird.
No, you didn't.
Did I not?
Monster Manual in
I
February?
think I said Monster Manuel.
Oh my god,
The
Manuel.
Monster Manuel
Oh my god.
in February. I think we have we have pretty much everything,
Yeah.
right? Granted, we'll have a better idea, and maybe it's something we can revisit in
Yeah.
February once we have our hands on the Monster Manual and we actually see what the things are like. But I think now's a great time to talk about it. I think it's
so.
a lot of people are interested in hearing from us, our opinions on
Yeah.
these things, right?
Yeah.
And this is going to be split up in a few different sections.
Yeah, we're gonna do like broader talking points about that talking point, and then just like talk through each one as we go.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be broken into, I think, 4 sections. The first section we're going to talk about is mechanically how it looks for players, how it looks for dungeon masters, socially for D&D, and then just our overall thoughts,
Yeah.
right? Before we get into it, is there anything that you want to mention straight off the bat?
Straight off the bat. Well, no. I don't think there's anything I want to mention straight off the bat because I'll probably start talking, and then as I start talking, I'll delve into one of the points, and then we'll start about halfway through.
Got you.
We're gonna just rip it, and
Got
then
you.
if there's any points that I think as we go,
Yeah, of course.
then
Yeah.
we'll go for it.
Of course. Well, I guess to open up the first point of discussion then is mechanically and what mechanically for players specifically.
Yeah.
How has D&D 2024 changed for players? And these of course are all subjective points and things that I think that are worth talking about.
Yeah.
The biggest changes that I see personally, I'm very aware that you very well might have different points. You
Yeah.
might have a different viewpoint on what we think. And I just want to preface all of this with saying it's okay if
You disagree.
D&D 2024 isn't for you. That's totally fine.
There's so many systems out there right
Absolutely.
now. That if you don't like the new DMG, the new Player's Handbook, the new Monster Manual when it comes out in February, it doesn't matter. Like, you can go play Pathfinder, you can
Yeah.
go play Call of Cthulhu, you
Yeah.
can go play Monster of the Week, you can go play Daggerheart, you
Yeah.
can go play Candela Obscura, you can play anything you want.
Absolutely.
You're still playing TTRPGs.
Absolutely.
You're still playing role-playing games.
Absolutely.
This is the one that, is the biggest. This is the one that we love. This is the one that got us into the game. This is the one that we prefer to play. So that's the one we're going to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, this is, of course, all our opinion.
Yeah.
And the first thing I think really that has changed for players Marshals are just better.
Marshals are just, I would still say late game that casters are better.
Yeah, but
But
I think naturally,
because they get wish.
Yeah.
They get things that they get access to spells that you could just never do with being a marshal.
Yeah, of course.
But the way that the game feels, like we played the one shot.
Well, yeah, Dark Heart.
You were a level 14 fighter.
I was a level 14 Eldritch Knight fighter, no multi-classing anything, and it felt incredible.
It felt great.
It felt great.
You felt, because of weapon masteries,
Yeah.
you felt like you had loads of options.
Yeah, yeah.
You felt like you weren't just, okay, I walk up and I hit it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm going to try and trip this one. I'm going to try and cleave these two people. I'm going to try and push this one away so I can help Isaac. I'm going to, use all of these different weapons, because that's the point. You can put a weapon away and bring a weapon out.
Options. And
You put a weapon away and bring a weapon out. It's like you've got 3 different weapons that have all the weapon masteries that you want, or whatever it is, and you can just cycle through them as you go.
Yeah, and you know what? Weapon masteries genuinely is the very first point I have in this. Marshals are just better.
They're just better. They just feel so good.
Weapon masteries, and since we're talking about Brienne and me playing a fighter, I think now is a good time to talk specifically about the fighter regarding weapon masteries. So weapon masteries, if you don't know, every weapon has a mastery to it.
Property.
A property, exactly.
Multiple weapons can have the same one. Like, let's just say, it's not an example, but the Great Axe and the Maul might have the same property.
Yes, yeah.
But it means there's so many properties and there's so many different weapons. Like, in the heavy category, they probably won't overlap. In the light category, they probably won't overlap.
Yeah.
In the range, they won't overlap. But from each category might have one of the same.
Yeah, and for example, the greatsword has the cleave property. I could very well be getting the properties wrong for the weapons.
No, greatsword has cleave.
But cleave basically means no matter what, even if you miss the attack, you're still going to be doing. Oh no, is that graze?
That's graze.
That's graze. Sorry, graze. You're still going to be doing damage, even if you miss.
Your ability modifiers worth of damage.
Yeah, exactly.
Which feels good.
Yeah, and cleave means you can literally cleave onto something within 5 feet.
If there's something within 5 feet of you, it means you can hit the original person and then get a free second attack, no action economy, at the other person, but you don't get to add your ability modifiers. I just think what it does to combat for marshals is actually makes you think.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, when you play a Battle Master fighter?
Yes.
You play a Battle Master fighter, and it's like, okay, I could disarm this person.
Yeah.
I could goad this person.
I could trip this person.
I could trip this person. I could switch players with somebody and give me the AC buff because it's going to be me. It's like you're actually using your noodle.
Yeah.
And it's about battlefield control,
and it's versatile. I think that's the biggest thing that weapon masteries have brought is versatility, and it's being able to, okay, I'm going to use topple, and then once this person is down,
I get advantage.
I get advantage on the attack, and then I'm going to, things like that, and that's very much what I did as a fighter, right? And by the way, as a fighter, you get access to even more weapon masteries.
The weapon masteries are Marshall's thing, but it's specifically the fighters thing.
Yes.
It's like they get more weapon masteries than anyone. They get to have specific weapon masteries that they just get for free.
Yeah.
Like, they don't count towards the weapon masteries that Like, let's just say at 9th level, four weapon masteries.
Yeah.
But those 4, but you get 3 for free.
Yeah.
So really, you have 7 weapon masteries.
You get sap, slow, and push.
Sap, slow, and push for free. I think it's at 9th level.
Yeah. At one point as a fighter, you get 3 weapon masteries for free that you can just go, okay, well, my greatsword has this on, but actually, I would like it to use this.
I would like to use push. I would like to use sap.
Just use it by default.
Yeah, you're just a Swiss Army knife of weapon masteries.
Yeah, and it feels great.
For a marshal,
it feels great.
You feel useful.
Yeah.
You feel useful as fuck.
Weapon masteries for marshals, I think...
Best thing that's happened to the game.
I think it's the best
addition in that book.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And the thing is, we've been talking about it for so long now, I feel like it almost feels like, we've heard of weapon masteries. It's just like, but when you play with them,
use them,
you actually begin to go, huh.
I agree. And
this is huge.
It's really nice to be able to be like, just to have that extra level of thought behind what you're doing, that extra level of intention behind what you're doing. And, while we're on the topic of the fighter, obviously you get more weapon masteries. Some other things that they added in for the fighter, They added tactical mind.
Yeah.
It basically means you can expend one of your second wind charges to add an extra 1d10 to a roll.
Yeah. I think the big talking point here from like things that got added to marshals was spellcasters got changes too, and they all went in the right direction. But in terms of like class design for marshals, not only did they get weapon masteries, they just got a million things more as well.
Absolutely.
Tactical mind. So you can burn a second wind to
which you get back on a short rest.
To basically add your second wind dice to a skill
roll.
check.
Yeah, so if you need this is an important thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like with
feels
marshals,
like sort of self-bardic inspiration.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's like a psionic dice for a rogue.
Yeah.
Like it's with marshals, I feel like in 5e, especially with something like a barbarian, for example, with a fighter, you can feel less so with a barbarian with a fighter because you could go into dex as well. You could be a dex-based fighter.
Yeah.
But you felt limited.
You felt so limited.
You felt so limited to what you could do.
But like, so the fighters get tactical mind. The barbarian gets
primal knowledge,
where if you're raging and your rage lasts far longer now,
10 minutes.
You can use your strength on your ability checks. Amazing. Rogues, were less one-dimensional in terms of they could do outside of combat, but they felt quite one-dimensional in combat.
Yeah.
Hey, now you can sacrifice your sneak attack damage to poison enemies, to knock them over, to blind them.
Yeah.
Monks now get all of their key points back. See, the thing is with monks didn't feel like super one-dimensional because they could, grab things and throw them back. They were good at stealth. Like you were actually quite good at a lot of things, but the problem was you had to spend all of your what are they called now?
Focus points.
Yeah. To do them. Hey, now when you roll initiative,
when you go into initiative, you get all your expended focus points back, which feels great.
Feels unreal.
Especially because the whole thing with key. If we keep calling it key, that's just because that's what we're used to in 5e. Focus points. I think with the monk, it's like I'm holding on to. I feel like anything where you have a certain amount of things you can expend, it's easy to hold on to them and not want to use them.
Yeah.
Now, with uncanny metabolism, you can use them literally whenever.
All. It's just every single marshal got something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Every marshal, not only did they become better in combat, they made sure to make them really good at things outside of combat.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't have to be because you want to play a barbarian because barbarian's sick and it's cool.
Yeah.
And going into a rage and smashing things is fun.
Yeah.
You don't just feel like that's your only dimension now.
Absolutely. Well, we mentioned before primal knowledge for a barbarian. Primal knowledge basically means you can use your strength score for acrobatics, intimidation, perception, stealth, or survival. Good gosh. Great googly mooglies.
Great googly mooglies. What? Perception?
Yeah.
Best skill in the game.
Absolutely.
Hey,
stealth.
And the thing is, I'm pretty sure barbarians get something where they get to roll initiative and get rages back at some point.
You can now get 1 rage back per short rest.
It's like you don't have to be scared about burning the rage.
Absolutely. And, again, granted, barbarians get a few rages, but, being able to get 1 back on a short rest, when as a barbarian you used to get nothing back on a short rest.
Huge.
And you can also now, with the barbarian rage, we'll talk about this later on, kind of like the cheesiness aspect of D&D and have things been put in place to stop that in the 2024 iteration. One thing with the 5e rage, rules is written. Whether you use that or not, the rules is written
you
where...
You gotta attack or take damage.
Yeah, you
to
rage.
Keep the rage going.
It lasts 1 minute. You have to attack or be attacked.
Yeah.
And even with a barbarian, when you get that 5 extra movement, like at a higher level, sometimes as a marshal, you're just going to be out of the way of things.
Yeah, some things are just going to be like maybe things fly.
Yeah.
Maybe things are just really fast.
Yeah, sometimes you have to use your action to dash.
Yeah, maybe like you're in difficult terrain or something like that.
Yeah.
You don't get to attack or I'm pretty sure it's take damage, is it not?
Yeah, it's any time there is an attack made against you. Something has to make an attack against you.
Yeah,
sometimes that didn't happen, and the way around it for a lot of people was I punch myself in the face.
I punch myself in the face.
Or you get someone else to attack you.
Yeah. Like, so now you can just extend it as a bonus action.
Yeah, you can just use a bonus action.
Which feels great. It just feels just like, hey, if I've got nothing else to do, at least I can keep my rage up.
At least I can keep it up. Absolutely.
Keep it up.
And it lasts 10 minutes. So, you can, the fact that you can Rage, it lasts 10 minutes. You can get back one in a short rest. You need to be stealthy somewhere.
Yeah.
You're doing an infiltration mission. You need to go somewhere. Everyone looks at the barbarian.
But the barbarian actually goes, hey. I go into a rage.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure that we can try this. And I'm going to use my strength for myself.
I use my primal instinct. I use my strength for my stealth.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
And I'll get it back on a short rest.
Like, and nobody turns to you now and is like...
Yeah.
Like, they're like, man, we'll have to burn another pass without trace just to let the barbarian succeed.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, I can actually be decent at it now.
Yeah. I completely agree. And, you know,
and do you want to know what would be cool? Like, you can put your proficiencies in things that you wouldn't be very good at.
Yes.
Like, okay, I'm going to put proficiency in stealth.
Knowing
I'm not raging,
that I can
I'm
use
not great at it,
my strength.
But when I'm raging,
Yes.
I'm really good at it.
Absolutely.
So you're
Absolutely.
sort of, you're starting to think about how you want to spread out your skill points
and
more,
I think
and it feels good.
That opens up character flavor as well.
Agreed,
in my
100%.
opinion. And
I agree.
you know, some of the last things specifically on martials that I would like to touch on. We've touched everything. Monk, martial art dice, all bumped up.
Every single
all
one.
bumped up.
Doesn't start at a D4 now.
Yep,
starts at a D6.
Great.
Feels way better.
Great.
They're gonna be. Look, I'm preparing you, dungeon masters. Now they're gonna do a lot of fucking damage at first level. They're gonna be almost OP in the first couple of levels because they get to make, you know, if they want, they can make an unarmed strike as bonus action. So you get to make potentially 3 attacks with flurry of blows.
Yeah.
Like early level, you could be making like 3 attacks.
Yeah.
And they're D6s.
Yeah. Although I will also say to that, DMs, the monster manual, apparent. Listen,
we went to a conference with Jeremy Crawford.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You're in the players. You're in the golden age right now.
You're in the great times.
You're in the
right
grace
now.
period.
Yeah.
You've been buffed.
Yeah.
The monster manual hasn't been buffed.
Yeah. Just you wait.
You're smashing through things.
Yeah,
you're
totally.
feeling real good.
Yeah.
He was just like, just wait till the monster manual comes out because these monsters, scary.
Yeah.
Which
indeed.
you want to know what? I'm eating.
Yeah, indeed.
I'm eating.
Indeed.
I can't wait.
And really, that's kind of, well, you know, the last thing martials is the fighter also gets indomitable now. When you fail a save, you can re-roll it and add your fighter level. You get it at level 9.
They always
base.
got indomitable,
but it was at level 17 or something. No, it was at level 14,
and it was
wasn't
simply just a re-roll.
Yeah,
and the problem always was, I'm re-rolling it probably because I'm shit at it. So I'm probably just going to fail it again. But the thing is now, you re-roll it, if it's at level 14 or whatever it is.
It's level 9.
Level 9.
So you get a +9 base.
Plus 9?
Totally.
That's like, not guarantee, but great chance.
Absolutely.
Great chance.
I agree. So I think martials, absolutely looking great.
And there's been great changes across the board to all of the classes.
Totally.
The warlock, the druid, everyone's looking good. Cleric, but the marshals just got a lot of love.
I agree.
Which they needed.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
I think it was a fantastic change.
Yeah, I completely agree. And really, the next point for players, the things that, you know, if you're a forever player, things to note are things like your subclasses. They're more universally balanced. Right?
Yes.
Or at least more universally equal, I would say.
Like, we look back at PHB 14.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And there is now in this day and age, maybe not when it first came out, but a decade later, there is a number of subclasses that you just didn't even look at.
4 Elements Monk.
4 Elements Monk. There's a number of, like, there's so many great ones, but like the action economy is just so bad. You don't want to be that subclass.
You're like Glory Paladin. When you're looking at the Glory Paladin versus the Vengeance Paladin in 2014, power wise, you're gonna pick the Vengeance Paladin.
But it's because you go Vengeance, you get Vow of Enmity.
Yeah,
it's a bonus action.
Yeah,
and not only is it a bonus action, it's a bonus action for one of the strongest abilities in the game.
Yeah, and
then you would look at some of the other subclasses in that. And it's just like, this ability is actually sick. Maybe it's not quite as good as Vow of Enmity, but it takes an action for me to get it online.
Yeah.
So I'm literally setting up to do less damage and be less effective than the Vengeance Paladin.
Totally.
So there's a lot of things.
Sorry. Oh, goodness.
Was that you?
That was me. That was all me.
There's a lot of things a lot of subclasses in this book that have been reworked.
Yeah.
and they're not. It's not that they're new subclasses, but they're effectively new subclasses.
Gosh,
because
wait.
they're fucking viable, and their action economy isn't
Yeah.
dog shit.
Yeah, and again, I mention it again. The 4 Elements monk,
God,
widely accepted in 5e
is the worst subclass
as the worst subclass in the entire game. Now, the 4 Elements monk, that again, you just take into account what we said before, the fact that you have more focus points, you have uncanny metabolism, your martial arts die are bumped up. That's just base monk shit,
that's
right?
monk.
And then you take into account the changes for the 4 Elements monk.
My God.
Like, I haven't played a 4 Elements monk, but Josh at our table did played the 2024 version of it, and he had an incredibly great time. And he was always like, I have so many key points left still.
Yeah.
I have so many options. I'm so versatile.
You get loads of reach. You
Yeah.
get to like choose elemental
Yeah,
damage.
yeah.
And hopefully we're hoping for some vulnerabilities
Yeah.
in the monster manual, because I
Yeah.
know that's something that has been like, yeah, there's so many resistances, but why
Yeah.
isn't there a vulnerability?
Yeah.
Which, if there is vulnerabilities, and then you being able to be like, okay, this fist now does poison damage, this one does cold damage, this one does fire damage, thunder damage. You being able to get around resistances
Yeah.
and get maybe even target vulnerabilities is really fucking sick. And then also you basically get, I don't know if anyone's played it, but Infernus from Deadlock gets this thing where he just runs and he just leaves a blazing trail behind him.
Yeah.
You can do that as the Elements monk. You just like scorch the earth, and anyone that you pass just takes loads of damage.
Cool.
It's fucking sick.
So cool.
And that's the thing. The way of the 4 Elements monk has been around since 2014.
Yeah.
But it's a new subclass.
Totally.
There is nothing left of that subclass. It's like you could have tried to fix it,
Yeah.
but you would have done so much fixing.
Yeah.
It would have not even looked the same. So they were like, hey, just throw it out the
Let's
window.
just rework it.
Let's just rework it.
Yeah.
And things like the Glory Paladin, the Ancients Paladin, these things that, maybe weren't
The
so
Draconic
widely...
Bloodline
The
Sorcerer.
Draconic Bloodline Sorcerer. These
Yeah.
things that were like not so widely used because they felt kind of stinky,
Yeah.
now feel great.
Yeah.
And everything just feels like it's starting on an even playing field.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be some that are slightly weaker. Yeah, there'll be some that are slightly stronger. But that gap between the strongest and the weakest isn't like this anymore.
Yeah.
It's like this.
And you know what? I genuinely think making all subclasses universally accessible at level 3, I think that makes such a huge difference. How many times do we hear, I'll just take 1 in Warlock?
I'll just take a level in Warlock.
What's the harm in taking 1 in Warlock?
I'll just take one because you get your
Because you
subclass.
got so much as a Warlock.
The value of that level
absolutely
is unmatched.
You got a whole subclass, like it's especially Hexblade, right? You get the armor proficiencies. You got
Hexblade's Curse.
You got Hexblade's
the
Curse.
ability
You
to-
didn't get packed boons at level 1.
But you did get the ability to add your charisma modifier to the attack.
Yeah,
that was the thing.
Yeah,
Like it was so strong. Like so strong.
Yeah.
Like people were going to Genie because you would be able to like add the Dow damage to the Eldritch Blast.
Yeah.
It was just so strong.
Yeah, and I think genuinely everyone now getting their subclass at level 3 for players. That means there's going to be less disparity in early game, and that's when you feel it.
Yeah,
you feel the lack of disparity between yourself and the other players at these early levels when other people have a subclass and you don't.
You don't, yeah.
Even when some people got a subclass at level 2, like a druid.
And a wizard.
Like, I think moving them to level 3 was the right decision.
I agree. I do agree. I think that, like, some people maybe... the biggest thing for me is you will probably be less likely to multi-class.
Yes.
And also, like, for 2 reasons.
Yeah.
One, because you don't just have somewhere you just get a subclass at the first level.
Yeah.
So you won't feel the, like, need to multi-class as much. But also, you can see that the power from the subclasses, you get a lot at 3rd level, but those higher level abilities...
Absolutely.
Like, like you take... It's the best example is the Gloomstalker Ranger.
Yeah.
You go into Gloomstalker Ranger because you get so much the first, like, 3 levels. And then you get to the one where it's like you get Iron Mind and you have advantage on Wisdom saving throws. It's just like, I don't, that's fucking shite.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to multi-class somewhere else because it's worth it.
Absolutely.
So I think they've tried to make those later game, like, abilities cooler.
Well,
so you stay on track.
Well, no, they have. And that was actually my next point is they've adjusted very much so in the understanding that very few games will get to level 20.
Yeah.
They've taken a lot of the level 20 capstones, and if they haven't even necessarily brought them down, which they have, some of them they have brought the capstone down. They have brought, for example, Indomitable. It used to be a level 14 thing. Now it's a level 9 thing for the fighter.
There you go.
They've brought a lot of the things, and I would say things past 8, 9, up to 20. They've brought a lot of those high level things down because
Down a few levels, yeah.
they understand that the
Not
state
every
of the game. A lot of tables won't get to level 20.
And as well, it's because they added epic boons in.
Yeah.
You put the
Yes.
epic boon on 20th level, so the capstone doesn't have to be on 20th level.
Yeah.
So then you can bring everything down a bit. So you just get more in the class, which feels great.
Yeah.
And it's just the reality of scheduling,
Yeah.
burnout,
Yeah.
all these things that
Yeah.
make you not get to late game and, live out the fantasy of, like, you look at the book and then you see that ability and you're like, oh my God, I want nothing more than just to have that hurl through hell from Warlock Fiend
and
or something
which
like
by
that.
the way, they brought down.
They brought
They
down.
brought it down.
Because it's been changed,
it
that
has
ability.
been changed.
But
yeah.
but you want that. You want to
Yeah.
hurl something through.
You certainly
hell.
do. You certainly do. There's
You-
one
that's
thing
what
on
you
my
wanna
agenda.
do.
It's to hurl
I'm
something through
hurling
hell.
you through hell.
Yeah, me when I hurl you
I'm
through
gonna
hell.
grab you and I'm
I
gonna
want to
hurl
hurl you through hell.
How
There's
about
no
that?
way about it.
How about
Honestly, sorry. I know that I said you're locked in. Hey, you're hurling through hell.
Hey, but you'll be locked back in as soon as
How
you
about
get
that?
back. I promise.
How about that?
But it feels good.
Yeah.
Like, it just, like, bringing everything down is just more realistic.
I agree. Bringing everything to level 3, but also bringing down the level 20 things. It's doing this, and I not in a bad way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And once again, I cannot stress enough. I know people who like to multi-class, people who like to build like broken builds as like a hobby. I very much understand that. It coming to level 3, the subclasses, it does make multi-classing harder. And by the way, that's coming from someone who loves multi-classing.
Yeah.
I love multi-classing, but I can recognize it's better, honestly, for the state of the game.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's still there. It might just take a level or two longer to get online.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not that those things just aren't possible now. It's like, if it's worth it, it's still worth it to take those 3 levels.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like, some subclasses still, are front-loaded and it isn't as desirable to go the whole way. And it is more desirable to take 3 levels. And it feels like more of a commitment.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I do want to go Warlock.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now I'm going to have to be there for 3 levels at least to get the subclass.
Yeah.
Which kind of feels good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It feels good to, not just dip in for 1 and leave. It's like, I dip in for 3.
Yeah.
Okay, like,
Yeah.
I'm actually taking it seriously now.
Yeah, totally.
It's not just like a dip for power and
Yeah.
nothing else.
Yeah, I agree. I very much agree. So those were our main points from maybe a player's perspective.
Yeah.
Now, from a dungeon master's perspective, or a game master's perspective,
Yeah.
right? What's changed from, honestly, the PHB and the DMG for D&D 2024? My first point, and this is the point that I mention every single time,
Mhm.
whenever we've been asked about it, because we have been asked quite a lot,
Yeah.
is what do you think is the biggest change? And I think, and this ties in, maybe to a bit of a part of the conversation later, for DMs, there's a huge focus on the social aspect of it now.
Yeah.
There's a huge focus on the fact that it is a game,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a game that you play with
With
real
people.
life human beings.
And that's it. Like, it's all well and good, the mechanics being good.
Yeah.
It's all well and good that the mechanics are solid
Yeah.
and fair
Yeah,
and better written.
Yeah.
I will say is one thing that I will
I
say
very
about
much
it.
agree.
It's a lot more clear.
And I feel like the examples that they give are so much
Yeah.
more fleshed out too.
But that is only half of the game.
Absolutely.
The other half of the game, probably even more than that,
Yeah.
is, hey, you're going to be playing with 3, 4, 5 other people.
Real life human beings.
Some of them might be your friends. Some of them you might have never met before.
Yeah, totally.
And here's a bunch of things that you need to
Here's to set yourself up
set yourself up for success.
for best case scenario, right? And the first couple of chapters of the DMG are targeted to new DMs.
Yeah.
Of course, there is so much information that an experienced DM can gain from that. There is obviously reference to experienced DMs throughout the whole book.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like, if you're an experienced DM, okay, the first chapter of the book isn't for you.
Yeah.
The rest of the book's for you.
And even then, I would say that you could always learn something.
You can always learn something, but, like, I think that it is very much catered towards new dungeon masters.
It is. No,
which
I
is
agree.
good because that's the thing. It's just like, okay, I'm not a new dungeon master.
Yeah.
Like
We need more dungeon masters.
we need more dungeon masters.
Yeah.
But the rest of the book is for me. But the fact that a new dungeon master
Yeah.
could open this up
Totally.
and be like, okay,
Yeah. And I think so when we went to Comic-Con, we went to the panel afterwards. We met Sierra Brugman, who is the game producer of the game.
Yeah.
And we had the honor to talk to her and chat with her.
yeah.
And I reiterated this to her as well. I said, one thing in the DMG that really makes me feel positive about the state of the game is the fact that you have a baked-in Session Zero sheet. How many times in the community throughout the past 10 years from when 5e came out to now is Session Zero something that for some reason is highly contentious?
Yeah,
but our side of the internet very much recommends, right?
Yeah. And hey,
look.
Hey, we won.
Hey, look, it's in the book.
Hey, it's in the book.
It's in the book because it's important.
It's
because
important. Whether or not it's for safety tools, whether or not it's for, what happens when somebody's not there.
Yes.
Whether it's not about snacks and stuff like that.
Scheduling.
There's literal advice on scheduling.
Yep.
There is two things in it. There's many things in it, but there's two things. There's an expectation sheet.
Yeah. Good.
Oh my god.
Great googly moogly.
Great googly moogly.
Having an expectation sheet. Things that you just, when you're a new DM, some things you just don't even think to do, right? And of course, we can sit on the internet and yell about it as much as we want, but coming from the official book of Dungeons and Dragons, to me, is such a positive thing. And the expectation sheet, by the way, is simply, hey, these are the themes. Hey, what do you want out of this?
Hey,
what do you want your character to
Do you want loads
explore?
of combat? Do you want loads of roleplay?
Yeah.
Like, what are your expectations from this game?
Yeah.
So the Dungeon Master can maybe even read the sheet and go, that doesn't sound like a game I'm going to run. Hey, I'll just let you know that this is what the game's going to be.
Absolutely.
Oh, hey, that doesn't sound like something I'm interested in. Maybe this game's not for me. Maybe it's not.
Absolutely.
You're
just setting yourself up for the best situation.
We circumvented a disaster.
Which how many horror stories have we heard personally from doing the podcast of that exact thing happening?
Yeah. It's like, I just want to smash goblins. I don't care about doing a voice.
Yeah.
I don't care about writing a backstory.
Yeah.
I want you to take me through dungeon crawl after dungeon crawl after dungeon crawl after dungeon crawl, where I get loads of loot and I smash goblins, and that's what I want.
Yeah.
And then the dungeon master is somebody who's a big Critical Role fan who wants like these invested plot lines and backstories and like downtime. Those two players aren't going to fucking enjoy playing together.
No.
At all.
Yeah.
One of them is going to get the feelings hurt about being a new dungeon master who people aren't enjoying their game. But it's not because they're not enjoying the game. They're not enjoying the game because they feel have literally no interest in the game that they're running.
And now there is an official, it's in the book, made to photocopy.
Yeah.
There is now going to be an official version of an expectation sheet that I hope becomes as commonplace as something like the character sheet.
Yep.
This is something I hope that really will make its way into D&D, and it's important. And not only that, oh my gosh, there's safety tools. They haven't used the word safety tools because they know how annoying people on the internet can be about.
You're all going to get triggered.
They
oh my
know
god,
that,
I used the word triggered.
They know that people hear safety tools and they go, oh, snowflakes.
Oh, snowflakes.
But they've introduced a system exactly like the stoplight system, where if something makes you uncomfortable, you can say.
Yeah.
And I just think that's so important.
It's just so heading in the right direction.
It is. I completely agree.
For the social, they have, like, the thing is, in that DMG, the one that you're sat next to, none of it.
Yeah, none of it. None of it.
No mention of session zero. No mention of how to deal with scheduling, how to deal with problem players.
And don't get me wrong. There is of course mentions about dealing with conflict, but nothing is comprehensive.
To the degree
nothing is
that this book goes into.
No.
And like, there's, maybe Dungeon Master's tackling like role play. There's role play examples.
Yeah.
How a situation would, like, as a dungeon master, like how to get people past, like, when players are stuck and things like that.
Yeah.
It's just, this is the reality, the actual reality of D&D.
Of being a DM.
This
as well,
really puts into perspective what's actually going to happen when
Yeah.
you sit down at the head of that table
Yeah.
and start to dungeon
Yeah.
master.
Hey, look, the new DMG is actually useful.
It's fucking
not,
great.
It's not just like the 5e one, which, in my opinion, and I haven't read it cover to cover, so it's not fair for me to say, oh, it's exactly this. But you know, a lot of lore dump, a lot of just reintroducing D&D mechanically and not focusing on the fact that it's a game that you play with people.
That's the problem.
Yeah, that is. I agree.
It's, it tells you exactly how to run a game.
Yeah, and it's comprehensive. Don't get me wrong. It's
tells
comprehensive.
You great ways to run a game, and things that you can add in, how to world build, how to build towns and stuff like that. It's just like, but what if I can't even get it off the fucking ground?
Yeah.
Then none of that matters.
I agree.
This teaches you how to get it off the ground.
To build a foundation.
But it has all of that stuff in as well.
Yeah. And you know what? We keep saying there's great examples in here. And I think that kind of moves me on to the next point of, not only is there examples of conversations, how to do a skill check, how to ask for a roll, how to deal with conflict, how to do these things, there's actually the whole campaign setting of Greyhawk as an example in this book. I know that this is something that a few people are like, well, why have they put Greyhawk in here? They've put Greyhawk in here, and literally these are Jeremy Crawford's words from the panel of, they put Greyhawk in here so it gives examples of how to run factions, how to run districts, how to run smaller towns, how to run a city, how to run a guild, how to run a merchant, examples of all these things. And literally, if you go, it gives you the skeleton of what you could put in a campaign if you wanted to.
There's world maps, there's town maps, there's dungeon maps.
Yeah, God, there's so many maps.
There's so many maps.
There's
and
so
it's
many
perfect.
maps.
It's like, I want to start a campaign, but I have no idea how it will build. Hey, don't worry about it. The world's in there.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. So you can then take the skeleton of this game that's got all of these guilds, it's got these towns, it's got these like great like points of interest on the map,
and you can turn them into your own.
It's your game.
It's kind of giving you the formula. I think
there's small adventures in here to run, like 2-page adventures where it's just like, hey, I want to find out if I want a dungeon master.
Totally.
Run one of these adventures.
Absolutely.
There
And and that's even a step further than what we suggest when people come to us and say, I want to DM, how do I start? We say run a one-shot. Hey, now in the DMG, you can run literally this 1-page adventure and see how you feel.
See how you feel about it.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to think of the fucking idea.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good at giving you, hey, I'm thinking about dungeon mastering. What should I do first?
Yeah.
Hey, we'll run a small adventure. Okay, I've run a small adventure. I had a few problems with scheduling and a problem player. Hey, read the first chapter of the book.
Yeah.
When I've read the first chapter of the book, okay, I think I'm ready to dungeon master. I fancy it. Hey, well, now that you've read it and you think that you're ready, use the rest of the book.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
It's just like, look, will it have some things missing that you wish it had in?
Of course,
probably,
naturally,
but
of course it will.
It is comprehensive to the point where I'd say, like, I don't want anybody to spend money on something that they don't know that they're going to enjoy.
No, of course
There's
not.
obviously a new starter pack.
Yes.
Download that first and try that first.
Yeah.
But if you genuinely want to get into dungeon mastering,
it's a great starting point.
That is the book to pick up first.
I completely agree. I absolutely agree. You know, with Greyhawk, so I cannot stress to you how many fucking maps are in this book.
Oh my god,
so many maps. And
they
again,
look
they're at the
great.
back. You can photocopy them. It's dungeon maps. It's tavern maps. It's world maps. It's continent maps. There's so much in there. And really the kind of the final things in here. I would like to talk about Bastions briefly in a moment, because Bastions is a huge thing.
Yeah, I can't believe we talked this much about DMG and
I know,
not
I'm not talking about Bastions,
which is the biggest thing that they've put in the book.
I will segue into Bastions, but I just think for DMs, the general balance that the PHB has brought to DMs and brought into the DMG, I think is great for the state of the game. And one thing that DMs worry about is, this player's built this min-max build.
Yeah.
Help me. Min-max is always going to exist.
They're always going to exist.
There's always going to be way to min-max things. Absolutely.
It's like we talked about how all the subclasses are far more balanced. There are some that are just like, look, there's one spell that's just fucking absolutely ridiculous. Conjure minor elementals
Oh, yeah.
is just the most fucking broken spell on
Yeah,
earth.
yeah,
The cleric ability to be able to just cast Hallow as an action
yeah,
because it's a
yeah,
6th
yeah,
level spell and you
yeah,
get.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's quite late game. It does
Yeah.
take a while to get there. You can't do
Yeah.
that straight away.
yeah.
But the fact that you can do that is just outrageous.
Yeah. No, I
It's not
agree.
perfect. It's better,
Yeah,
but there
I
are still
agree.
things to
I agree.
abuse.
But for DMs, some things that have changed. I think the most contentious one is that the paladins can only smite once per turn.
Yeah.
And which, again, hey, by the way, played a paladin, me crying. Me as a player crying. I can recognize for the overall health of the game that is a good thing.
She cries in play.
Yeah. That helps DMs,
Yeah.
the subclasses at level 3.
Mhm.
That also helps DMs.
Yeah.
And they changed small things like the fighter's action surge. They state you can't do a magic
You
action.
can't do a magic
Can't
action.
do a magic
you
action.
can't fucking just
You
be
can't
you can't
dip
be a
into-
wizard,
yeah.
take 2 levels in fighter,
Yeah.
and now cast 2 fireballs in one turn.
Exactly.
You just can't do
exactly.
it. Which is good for the game.
And whilst that might not necessarily be in the DMG, I think for DMs that's an important note.
It's a good
right?
change.
It's a good change.
That's an important change because, like, the thing is, because it's
Mm.
not in the old books, when people do it at your table and you as a dungeon master, you're like, come on. And you're like, what? I'm allowed. There's nothing that says I'm not allowed. It's just
Yeah.
like, well, now you got the ammunition to be like, can't do that.
Yeah.
And, it's in the game. They changed it for a reason. The game designers think it's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, I agree. And bastions.
Oh my God.
Look, we can't talk about the DMG without talking about bastions. If you joined us on our stream, we did a deep dive into the DMG on stream.
And we did a lot of talking
We talked a lot about
bastions.
bastions.
The fact that we've gone to this point and not mentioned bastions
Yeah.
actually is a disservice to bastions.
To bastions, I completely agree.
Because bastions are amazing for multiple reasons.
Yeah, totally.
If you're a dungeon master who always likes to give your players housing anyway, this is the best thing that's ever happened to you.
I implore you to genuinely consider bastions.
If you've never given anyone a house before, you're not just going to give them a house, you're giving them a fucking fundamental game mechanic.
Totally.
Now, there's some people that are concerned, but they're just going to spend the rest of the time in the bastion. Do you want to know what that is? I don't hate that concern.
Yeah.
Because the bastions are so good, players are going to enjoy being there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, it's the story, it's the backstories that are going to take them away, a reason to adventure, just like always.
Yeah, and again, if you're the type of table where you don't mind, if for you it's not a bad thing that your players are spending time in their bastions, then that's okay. It's all subjective,
100%. Bastions are amazing for multiple reasons. There are so many mechanics to the bastions.
Yeah.
You don't have to use them all. You could simply just give them a house like you've done in every other game
Totally.
and be done with it.
Totally.
But if you want it to be more than that,
Yeah.
if you want it to be a storytelling tool, if
Yeah.
you want it to be a way for them to spend their money,
Yep.
to make money,
Yeah.
to make magic items,
Yeah.
to find out secrets of the town,
To meet important NPCs.
to meet important NPCs,
To make quite big decisions
Yeah.
based on socially how they appear, based on, morality questions as well,
This can't be a deep dive on bastions.
No.
Because we'd be here for
Yeah.
1 billion years.
Yeah, maybe that's something we could do later if you would be interested
Yeah,
in
if
it.
you want to hear about
But
it, because there's a lot.
There is, but Bastions basically is a new improved. Well, it's a home base for your
It's
players.
home base.
They can add certain areas onto their bastions.
Yeah.
Things where if
Costs
you're a
money,
wizard,
costs time,
costs-
costs days.
absolutely, and you get hirelings. Is that the word hirelings?
But all of these things that normally you'd be scared about because it's like, how much money does it cost? How much time should it be?
Yeah,
all in the book.
there,
All
in
in
there.
the book. Every
And
single bit of it.
you can make an arcane study. You can make potions. You can make magic items. You can make an armory. You can make a place of worship. All of these things you can make if you want to, and they're all in there.
You have to have specific people in your party. Like, you want to play in a place of worship, you need a cleric.
Yes.
You want an arcane study,
You have to have a wizard.
You have to have somebody who has a
Arcane
focus.
Yes.
Like the rogue can get the spy masters guild.
There's
and things like
comprehensive
that.
rules around Bastions.
There's so many, and all of them either give you something or allow you to do something.
Yeah.
Like when you get to 9th level with the arcane study, you can make magic items.
Yeah.
You can make spell scrolls
Yeah.
and things like that,
Yeah.
which is super cool.
Yeah.
With the Spymasters Guild, you can have your hirelings go out into the town and find out secrets.
Yeah.
And, that's a great way to introduce story points.
Totally.
You can have a storage room or something like that, what it's called, where you have people go out into the city for you and purchase 500 gold's worth of stuff and sell it back on for 600 gold. You get a little bit of money. But hey, they buy something that's cursed. They buy the new drug on the streets or something like that. It's a great way to introduce stories.
Yeah, totally. I agree. And I think for me, one of the absolute highlights of Bastions is the Bastion. I think it's every week.
Every 7 days.
Every 7
You
days.
take a Bastion action.
You get to have a Bastion action where you roll a D100. On a 1 to a 50, nothing happens.
All is
Everything's
well.
business as usual.
Yeah.
But in the later ones, the higher numbers, there's things that happen. Oh, you get an unexpected guest. Oh,
Bastion gets attacked.
The Bastion gets attacked. Oh, there's a criminal hireling. Someone comes to you for refuge. Oh, you've been asked to host this event.
A fair.
And
it's just so fun.
So much fun.
Yeah, they go away on their adventures and they complete these quests. But then they need to go back to the Bastion because they need to regroup. The quest is over. They're waiting to find out the next thing that happens. But they don't just come home. When they come home, something's waiting for them.
Yeah.
They've been away for 2 weeks. You got one, all is good. But then
Yeah.
you got one event. They come back and the
Yeah.
event's happening.
Yeah.
It's just something. It's just more fuel as a dungeon master.
It is. It's
for you to use.
All storytelling as well, which I love. And I think also this is a great way if you're the type of like me as a player, you get really invested in NPCs. You love relationships with NPCs and being able to meet with them and talk with them and interact with them. This is a great way for NPC interaction and meaningful NPC interaction as well.
And like natural feeling and
naturally,
NPC
yeah, I agree.
It's like sometimes I think a lot of dungeon masters struggle with, I've got this great NPC, but how do I introduce them? How do I make the players care about them? How do I make it so that they have to meet them and care about them? Hey, well, they're staying at your fucking Bastion.
Yeah, exactly.
They're probably going to want to know something about you, why you're here. And you've literally put them face to face with the party. It's done the fucking legwork for you.
I agree.
And now all you have to do is the fun part of DMing, which is telling the story.
I agree. I agree.
Bastions
are great.
Nothing but a W.
I
in my
completely
opinion.
agree.
And you don't have to use them.
No. You don't. You don't have to use them if you don't want to.
All of the the base building costs and times, you can put it up if you want.
It's
you can
all
bring
optional.
It down.
All optional.
You don't even have to do that part of it if you don't want. You can just have it as a Bastion where people turn up and things happen.
Totally.
Up to you.
Totally. And I think genuinely that is one of the biggest, for me, the biggest change in the DMG is the social aspect, certainly.
And Bastions.
But Bastions, yeah.
Bastions, fuck.
Which I guess the last two topics we have to talk about are socially. Now, I'm aware that socially, we've kind of addressed a lot of those things when we're talking about the Dungeon Master's Guide. And I think really the main point that I want to address socially for D&D 2024 is there is a huge focus through the DMG, through the PHB, of doing what is right for you and your table.
Yeah. And I think because it is something that is mentioned in the DMG is everyone is different.
Yeah.
And we say it all the time here.
Yep.
There is no secret sauce. There's no key to unlock.
Nope.
And until you've done that one thing, you're a bad dungeon master and hey, everything's just going to be amazing afterwards. It's treating you like a human.
Yeah.
You're a human.
Yeah.
You're going to get things wrong.
Yep.
You're going to make mistakes. It's going to be okay. Here's the best tools possible for you to get it right the first time. But if you don't worry about it.
Yeah, totally. And, I feel like there's a huge emphasis on it's okay if your game is a roleplay heavy game. It says in some of the first pages of the DMG, it's like, you are your own DM and you are not like anyone else.
You're nobody else. You are you.
And if your game focuses more on roleplay, hey, that's cool. If your game focuses more on combat, hey, that's cool.
Hey, that's cool.
And I think, again, with the 5e iterations, of course, 5e definitely leaned more into like the roleplay aspect than any other iteration before.
Yeah.
But it was still a very heavy combat base. it goes on the basis that you're running 6 combats a day.
Yeah,
Where-
the CR system does, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, we don't talk in the Dungeon Master, we don't have any of that social aspect. It is simply just, here's the mechanics of the game.
Yeah,
Here's
totally.
what you need to be mechanically a good Dungeon
Yeah.
Master. It's like, yeah, the mechanics are hard to master and are hard to learn all of, but unless I do that first part, I'm not even going to fucking get to the mechanics.
Yeah.
So it doesn't even matter if I'm...
Oh my goodness
Excuse me.
gracious me.
Excuse me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'll give you your lunch after this.
Oh dear
Oh,
me. Daddy, feed me.
Jump down.
Feed me. Wow. That's nice, isn't it? Oh, that's
I'll just move over here,
nice.
I guess.
Yep. Hey, guess that's it for you then.
Yeah, it's like those mechanics are great, but unless we can actually get a fucking group together and schedule it and all get along, none of that
Then you're not going to have a
matters.
game. Yeah,
Who
totally.
cares about the mechanics if we can't even get along as people?
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
I just really appreciate, especially in the DMG, I appreciate that they recognize this. Obviously, every table is different.
Every table
It
is
goes
different
without saying.
for multiple reasons.
But having an official source saying, yeah, by the way, everyone's different and that's okay. Like, your game's not going to be like anyone else's.
Hearing
and,
it from that,
yeah, and
it hits different.
there isn't a one size fits all.
No.
I think it is great.
Yeah.
And socially, I truly believe that this gives tables the best chance of success possible with the consent forms, with the expectation forms. In the DMG, how do you solve conflict in and out of game? Scheduling. I think all of these work towards a healthier game for everyone.
Yeah, and I think it's just like the only thing that I will say, and I don't even really think that this is a criticism, is that we've been saying these things for 10 years.
Yeah.
We have, we've been saying it for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But people have been like, hey, we've basically cooked this, like the community
Yes.
has cooked all of this.
Yeah.
And they've just put it in a book. And it's not
Yes.
just like they just put it in a book. The fact that they put it in a book is beautiful and I love.
Yeah.
There is part of me that's like, I wish they'd maybe even taken it a step further.
Yeah.
Like they'd maybe introduced some things that we'd never even heard
Yeah,
about.
and could be like, a standardized
Yeah.
type thing. No, I very much agree. And I agree with what you're saying. It feels like, a lot of the rhetoric in these books are things that people like us have been saying on the internet for a long time.
Yeah.
But I also think the fact that that's recognized and the fact that it is published is important.
Is important.
But I
think it's
agree. I
massively
think
important.
they're the game developers.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's elements of things that they could add to that that they have created and could add to it. Now, do I know what that looks like? No, of course
No.
I don't. And I agree. I agree with what you're saying.
I think, it would be nice for them to take it even further, maybe.
Yeah, totally.
But also, I can't take it. I can't take it. I can't take it any more than a dub.
Yeah.
It's just such a dub.
I
It's
agree.
just such a massive W.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That I can't be mad about it
Yeah.
at all.
I totally agree. And socially, for me personally, it's moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I just think that if they've put it in a book, maybe some people that have been reluctant or resistant to
Yeah.
use safety tools,
So hearing the snowflakes on the
Session
internet saying
Zero,
it, yeah.
Because if it comes from them, then oh
Yeah.
my god, it's a natural thing. But if it comes from me
Yeah.
or you,
Yeah.
oh, you're just two
Yeah.
fucking idiots
Yeah,
who have no
totally.
idea what they're talking
Yeah,
about.
which, I get that.
But
I
the
get
fact
it.
that actual game designers are like, no, they're right.
Yeah.
It's in the book now.
Yeah.
It's like maybe some games won't fall apart from things that they shouldn't have,
Yeah, I agree.
like safety tools,
I
like
completely
expectations
agree.
and things like that.
Completely agree. So I think it's looking very positive.
I think it's great. It's great. It's socially, I think it's in the best position it's ever been. Been given a fighting chance.
I agree. And I guess with all of that said, we can kind of move on to the overall and maybe our final thoughts.
Yeah.
Right?
So here's my final thoughts. And I want because hey, I've said a lot of brilliant things, and I want to continue that. But I also want to say something that I am a little disappointed in.
Mm-hmm.
So balance wise, far better. Things that were poopy now better.
Yeah.
Marshals better. Social aspect actually been mentioned.
Yeah.
So it's better.
Yeah.
The one thing that I think that I am disappointed about with that book
Yeah.
more than this one
Yeah.
is
The
that
PHB for viewers.
the PHB more than the
Listeners,
DMG is there was a few changes to the game that were radical that I
Yeah.
was really excited about.
Yeah. Warlock.
There's 3 things. Warlock.
Yep.
The whole class.
Yeah.
Like, got a fucking reinvention.
I completely agree.
And I was super excited about it. Bardic Inspiration being a fucking reaction.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I ran a table with it. Felt great.
Yeah.
Druids having set stat blocks.
Yeah.
But because it was undercooked.
Yeah.
The problem
the
was
stat blocks did stink.
the stat blocks stank, but I think it's because they were undercooked.
Yeah.
But like, hey, having a standard stat block, but then being able to have tables
I completely
to like, oh, I want a climb speed and a fly speed.
Yeah.
Like being able to like pick a certain amount. Like at first level, you get to pick 2 things for your stat block.
Yeah.
At this level, you get these 3 things,
Mhm.
and then you get those prerequisite. At 4th level, you
Mhm.
can now unlock a swim speed.
Yes.
At 7th level, you can now
Yes.
unlock a fly speed.
Yes.
All those things you could like grab them in. There was those 3 things that really stick out in my mind. Warlock whole class, Bardic Inspiration being a reaction, and Druid wild shape stat blocks. And there was backlash from the community, and it felt like they just gave up.
Yeah, see, I have a slightly different opinion on that. I think, by the way, but I agree with all of what you've said there. I think the Warlock reimagined was so much, in my opinion, better.
It was so much better.
I think actually the Druid stat blocks absolutely should be the standard. They stank. They should have been better.
They should have been better.
Something like that. I agree. And
They were
the Bardic
undercooked.
Inspiration, absolutely. To me, them changing it, I actually think that is a sign that they're actually listening.
Yeah.
Just because we think that these things doesn't mean that clearly we were in the minority, right? Because there was obviously, if you didn't know, they released like play tests. And
It was Unearthed Arcana.
Yeah,
for,
they did
for the PHB.
Yeah, and there was rigorous playtesting. It was they would release a couple of classes. They would release something. Hey, give us feedback. Feedback's open for this amount of time. I think the fact that they changed them and then changed them back, to me, actually suggests that they're listening. And we're probably just the minority with these thoughts, right? Because they wouldn't have changed them back if it was just a couple of people.
Yeah, but I think I'm talking to you right now. Look, you're not good with change.
Oh, me. Oh, by the way, me.
None of you are. None of you are. None of you ever have been.
No, gosh, no.
The community is reluctant to change. You know, the transition, I think now that the PHB's come out and everyone's realized it's actually sick,
Yeah.
the transition is good. But when the Unearthed Arcana came out and like 99% of it was great, but 1% of it was bad, everyone was like, this is dog shit. It's the worst fucking edition. I can't believe they're doing this.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's always going to happen out of
It's-
familiarity.
it's
Always.
natural.
Yeah, it is.
Look, you aren't good with change.
No,
You
gosh,
never have been.
I'm terrible with
and
change.
the thing is, things can never get better if they don't change.
I agree.
Now,
I agree.
the Warlock, in my opinion, is the worst offender here
I agree.
because it was so cool
Yeah.
and so fun,
Yeah.
and I thought it was actually sick. It lost it a little bit of its like identity to be a short rest like fiend, but I thought it was really cool, and I just wish they'd like cooked with it, and I wish they'd continued.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I believe you're right. If everyone hates it so much,
Yeah.
then it's
Then
a
it
good
should-
thing that they changed it back.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes people are so scared they flip out, and then game designers change it back because they're scared.
Yeah,
that
I
people are
believe
upset.
there should have been some form of meeting in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I agree. I think, you know, maybe I feel like maybe that criticism isn't even towards necessarily like D&D 2024, you know? But I think
Maybe it's towards you.
no, I think that's coming from a place of genuinely we were in the minority with those decisions, obviously.
Yeah.
With those thoughts.
And
And
ain't no way anybody thought the Bardic Inspiration as a reaction was bad.
yeah, well, I agree. You know what? I do agree on that.
Now it lasts an hour,
Yeah.
and it's still a bonus action.
Yeah.
So, I guess it's good, but I feel like it just gave bards something to do.
I completely
their
agree with that.
reaction.
I do agree with that.
There's loads of bonus action spells
Yeah,
that bards probably
yeah.
want to cast.
And I think, you know, maybe it's hard, isn't it? because when it comes to feedback, what's the point in asking for feedback if you're not going to act on
True.
it?
It's so true.
And
it's so true.
I also believe that sometimes the community knows better. I believe that sometimes the game designers know better. You know,
it's a collaboration, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think there should have been more meeting in the middle than walking them back.
To me, those were just some of the things that I just wish that they had experimented a little bit more with before reverting.
I agree.
But hey, my overall thoughts are that book is done. The thing
PHB.
is, that book had less to do.
Yeah.
The PHB had less to do because the game, especially with Xanathars and Tashas, they added so much to the game. The game was in a good place.
Yeah.
Now it's in a great place because of that book. That just built on top of, brought things in line. Marshals are better. Great stuff. This thing,
the DMG,
just poops on the other one.
Yeah. No, I completely, I completely agree. Yeah, totally.
So from my wrap up is, game's in a great spot.
Yeah.
In a better spot than it's ever been.
Yeah, no, I very much agree. And, you know, some of the points that I had were, actually, to your point, they are clearly listening to feedback.
Yeah.
And we cannot talk about D&D 2024 without talking about the OGL situation that happened, was it the beginning of this year? No, it was the beginning of last year. Yes, it was the beginning of last year.
It's when we basically started the podcast.
Yeah, you know, I know that that's in the past. And as far as I'm concerned, and by the way, this is personal to everyone, it's okay if you don't forgive Wizards of the Coast for it. I totally get it. Me, personally...
Hasbro.
Hasbro. You're right. Hasbro. I agree. I totally understand if you don't want to forgive them for it. Everything that happened with the OGL, if you don't know what we're talking about, they tried to basically create their own OGL for Dungeons and Dragons, and they were basically trying to monetize any creators who made things of it. Anyone, not even creators, by the way, anyone who had made modules. They tried to put it in their own license, and it was a fucking mess.
Of course, it was a mess.
It was spitting in the face of the community that really had made D&D what it was at that point.
There's two parts to this game. Yeah. There's the game, and then there's the community.
Yeah.
They're both just as big as each other.
Absolutely. If you don't have a game without the community.
You don't have a game without a community, and especially a community that needs multiple people to make it work.
Totally.
It's like, each table is its own little community. Every single game is its own little community. Then you have like bigger communities, the people that follow Dimension 20, people that follow Critical Role, people that love the Dungeon Dudes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This game is built, a fucking fundamental pillar of this game is its community.
Absolutely.
And the fact that they were basically just like, hey...
was truly offensive.
It all belongs to us now.
Truly offensive and
you'll have to pay us.
Truly wrong. And that comes from money-grabbing corporations like Hasbro. I will say, though, it pisses me off even thinking about it. But I will say, they listened. They listened.
They did listen.
Wizards of the Coast listened. They walked everything back. Not only did they walk everything back, they moved in a positive direction. They put everything into the Creative Commons.
Everything into the Creative Commons. The new games, I'm pretty sure, have gone straight into the Creative Commons.
I don't know that for certain,
but they did say that was what they were going to do.
Yeah,
so,
they did say that.
You know, like, that's great. It's because that means it's protected forever.
Absolutely,
like, they can't change that.
People can use it forever, which is how it fucking should be.
Which is how it should be.
Because it's not. You know what? Sierra Brugman, who we spoke to, game producer, she said the words, D&D is not just ours. She was like, it's yours and it's everyone's.
Yeah.
And I fully believe that is... I believe them now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have. I know,
yeah.
And it's so frustrating, things that happen like the D&D Beyond thing, where they were like, all your 2014 stuff, it's all gone, and you have to homebrew stuff. What a fucking ridiculous decision.
Let people move over when they're ready. They will, if it's good enough, which it is, they'll move over.
And it's so frustrating seeing them make these decisions and everyone going, they're going to have to walk that back. Yeah. And lo and behold, they walk it back.
It's just like, stop making the decisions.
Now, do I believe that comes from
anybody,
Wizards of the Coast being like, this is the right decision? No, I don't.
It's not.
They're at the whims, as we all are, of a corporation, unfortunately. And how many times have we seen it? The best example, Cyberpunk. It was released when it was not ready by the higher ups, the game developers. Devastated.
Devastated.
I am
Because all years of their hard work that they put into this game that they knew wasn't ready, they were like, everyone's going to hate it, and then it's going to have been pointless.
Yeah, don't hate the player, hate the game.
This is it. It's just like, we've met like multiple people from Wizards now, and every single person that we've met, brilliant.
Yeah,
lovely,
and
amazing.
You can tell with this iteration of the PHB, the DMG, and I'm sure the Monster Manual, you can tell.
They just love and care for the game.
Yeah.
They just want the game to be the best it can be.
Yeah.
They're trying their best. They're listening. They're taking on like all sorts of.
Well, we have to remember that.
Yeah, and like people who have nothing to do with the game are the ones making it.
Yeah.
Like look bad.
Yeah, totally.
So just don't forget that the people who wrote that book like care about the game and care about you as a player.
Yeah, I agree.
Aren't the people making these whack decisions?
Yep,
okay?
I completely agree. And all of that to say, I completely understand. Corporations are always going to be corporations.
Yeah.
I understand if the OGL, if all of these changes, if these things, we can't skirt around the fact that Wizards of the Coast laid off a lot of people recently. And that's horrendous. It's terrible. And I can't be like, oh yeah, but no, it's terrible. It's awful. And if
you can. The thing is, like, not to get into like too much into politics.
Yeah.
Everyone's laying off people
because everywhere's terrible. It's
Riot Games laying off people.
It's all about money.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
like,
when it comes to these corporations,
you're in
and
late stage capitalism.
Exactly.
And that's the way it is, and it's not that it's nothing to do with Wizards.
Yeah.
They're having to make decisions as well, and sadly they're not making some of the right ones when it comes to their employees.
Yeah.
But it is sadly the climate we live in.
I agree, and all of that to say, if you do not trust Wizards of the Coast anymore, if you do not want to play D&D anymore, I don't blame you.
Yeah,
Absolutely, that's your prerogative. If you don't like the changes in the new Player's Handbook, the new DMG, oh my goodness.
Big yawn.
He has thoughts that he wants you to know. That's completely fine.
Yeah.
And if you want to look into other systems, I implore you to do so.
You're still a TTRPG player.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter if you play D&D.
Like we said in the beginning, there's so many indie developers. There's so many smaller developers that have incredible systems and incredible games.
Yeah.
D&D for us is just our preferred game. We love D&D.
And as content creators, like it makes sense.
Yeah,
as well.
it really does. And my final thoughts are it's all moving in the right direction.
It's all moving in the right direction, baby.
We ask the question, is D&D 2024 moving in the right direction? And in my opinion, yeah.
Mechanically, socially,
for Dungeon Masters,
everything. I think it's all moving in the right direction.
I agree, and it's okay if you don't think so.
And like it speaks for itself. That Player's Handbook right there, best-selling D&D product of all time.
Yeah.
And it's probably because, we're in a state where D&D has never been more popular, ever.
Yeah.
And they've released a book, so more people are going to buy it. But I'm glad that people are buying it because it's a great book.
Yeah.
I would be sad if the book was shit and D&D was as big as it was and that was the first book they were getting.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
Yeah. I
Dungeon Masters are never going to have been in a better position. Players are never going to have more fun. And man, when the Monster Manual comes out, can't wait.
Totally.
My God, I can't wait.
Totally. I completely agree.
It's good shit, man.
I completely agree. And hey, that concludes the deep dive and the topic into it, I guess.
What do you think about the way the game is?
Yeah.
What do you think about the Player's Handbook? What do you think about the DMG? What do you think about the game in its current state?
Yeah, I would love to know your thoughts.
Is it good? Are you happy with it? Is the things that you wish they did? Is this the first time you've picked up a book?
Yeah.
Like, what have you learned? Like, I want to know from the old heads. I want to know from the people who are brand new to this community.
Yeah, I agree.
Playing at their first game.
Yeah.
Considering Dungeon Mastering for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel about the game?
Like, has our thoughts and opinions swayed you either way? Has it added any more information for you? Was this helpful? Was this insightful for you?
Yeah.
And I there's a lot of positives we mentioned. I would say 99% of what we've talked about is positive, right?
I have a lot of good things to say. I do have some issues with it, but
of course.
I have good things to say about it.
And I know that some people could easily be like, "Oh, well, you're just D&D shills," and it's like, no, I just feel genuinely positive about it. I genuinely have positive feelings
I would agree
about
with you
it.
if the books weren't good, but
Yeah,
they are.
yeah, I completely agree.
Both are great.
Yeah, I completely agree. So I would really love to know your thoughts. I would love to know what you think. Do you have anything to add? Do you have anything you want to talk about? Would you like us to do a video on Bastions?
Man,
Let
they're
us know.
so good.
They are so,
They're
so good. So thank you
Thanks
for
so much for
watching
being
our
here.
first iteration of
Yapping.
And, hopefully first of many to come if you enjoyed it.
I thought that was
I
great.
enjoyed it. Me too.
I think it's great. I think it's a good topic to talk about because I think people are asking those questions. Hey, what do you think about the books?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, it's just a topic on it. So
we wanted to have a comprehensive,
yeah.
a comprehensive as much as it could in an hour and 20 minutes. Conversation about it, and that we can guide people to about our thoughts on it. And if our thoughts change, we certainly will let you know. Yeah.
Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah.
Come check us out on Twitch every Friday, every Sunday, every other Tuesday. Go and check out the merch store. The Pride Collection is there. If you buy anything from the Pride Collection, 10% of all proceeds will be going to Heart Gables, a local LGBTQIA charity near us. So thanks so much for checking them out.
Join us on the 24th of November on Twitch. We are going to be having guests Raina and Dave from CarefulCantrip on.
Check out our Patreon down below. There's some more exclusive content from me and Margaret down there if you can't get enough of the Eldritch Podblast. I love you.
I love you.
Bully loves you.
Yes.
We have been the Eldritch Podblast. And we're going to see you on Monday. Bye.
And another huge thank you to our patrons for all of your support. A big shout out to our fellow entities.
Hoobs.
Ariel.
Tula.
Runarian.
Arkham Labs Cosplay.
Maddie. Luna.
Teddysaurus.
Caspian. J-Spot.
Ultrafail.
Dallin M.
Sleepy.
Joe Dragonlord 2.
Alistar.
Lawkeeper Society.
Ricky B.
Danny Phantom.
Catherine.
Faustskin.
Azuriel.
Panda Queen Plays.
Xylo Boy.
Lucas Iapetis.
Luna River. Christomancy.
The tacos are here.
Gavin.
Raynanana. Thank you again for all your support.
And if you too would like to become a patron of the Eldritch Podblast, check the link below.